what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it. Nicholas Rome has written 3 boldest takes for the LSU football team in 2024. And, well, they are that. Not hiding here. And we'll go through them. We'll go through them one by one. The first one on this list, Caleb Jackson wins the Doak Walker Award. So immediately you see we are really dealing with boldest here. Of course, the Doak Walker goes to the best running back in the entire country.
I thought bold was going to be something a little bit less bold.
No, I mean, they are. Yeah, look, Rove's not pulling any punches here. Shout out, Nicholas. I'm sure, maybe the hubris of youth here a bit, perhaps. And again, you say boldest, you need to go for it. Look, I mean, I don't, obviously when you say boldest, maybe not going to be the most realistic. With guys like Ollie Gordon out there, it's hard to see something like this coming to pass, especially because I think a lot of your game is still going to be built through the air. However, I think what this is more getting at are a couple of elements that I'm excited to see come Sunday night, which are going to be the more revamped rushing attack, your counters, your powers, your horn bosses, everything else, your more gap schemes to mix in along with your man schemes. And then, and also just that, look, Caleb Jackson looks very good right now. They say he's 235. I don't know if that's true or not, even if it's 225, though. That is a big man to be running as fast as he can. He showed so much potential last season. So I think the overall takeaway is not, he's not going to win the Doak Walker. Really, the takeaway is it's going to be a new revamped rushing attack behind a very good LSU offensive line. And in Caleb Jackson, Josh Williams, you have your very solid, very good college football player. A bit more of a known quantity, and that's not a negative at all, right? He's your 18. He's your leader. But in Caleb Jackson, you do have something tantalizing and young with supreme physical potential.
Yeah, like for me, that's so bold, not because he's not talented enough to go do those things, but I don't think that he's going to have the usage rate to be able to go out there and win that award. I think it is going to be a true running back by committee. It's going to be 3 running backs, and each have a different skill set. Each is going to play, and he is certainly going to have some oohs, some ahs. He's going to have explosives. He's going to have all of that, but there's going to be other running backs in the country that get like an 85% usage rate. That they're going to be the main guy, where Jackson might get, 45.
Yeah.
And Josh Williams might get 35. And then John Emery would make up the rest, like that. I can see it being something like that. So again, he's got the talent, just the raw talent to do all those things. I just don't know that LSU is going to have like a true RB1 bell cow this year.
I would agree with that, but we are both very excited, like we said, to see this new rushing attack. Bold prediction number 2 from our guy Nicholas: Alabama is not the biggest test on LSU's schedule. And he goes on to say that he mentions going to Kyle Field. He mentions hosting Ole Miss. And then he mentions Oklahoma at the end of the year. Now, the word test is interesting here. Because out of those teams, I do feel Alabama is the best team. You know me, I'm very bullish in Alabama, even with the losses. I know you're not as bullish as I am, Jake, certainly.
No. Not down, but not bullish.
Yeah, no. Like, I'm pretty up on them, unfortunately. I think they're going to be really good. I get what he's getting at. And at Kyle Field would maybe be my other answer to this. I mean, again, Ole Miss is very good, but LSU has a lot of success against Ole Miss in Death Valley. Oklahoma is going to be very good and a huge test and new. But again, you're at home. And yes, you can say, well, Alabama's at home. Yes, well, but you've almost always lost to Alabama in Death Valley, except for the last time out. So, no, Kyle Fields going to be tough, everything. But I'll still say that the Alabama game will be the toughest team that you will play.
I don't know. I don't have it there this year. I keep going back to at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I can't get away from that game. It just feels like LSU's season is not hinging on like that game, because I don't want to sound like if they lose they'll have a bad season, but to the expectation of what you want to be, like it feels like that game on the road, because outside of that, like your home schedule is fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Like, if you want season tickets to LSU, this was the year to get them. With Alabama, with Oklahoma, with Ole Miss, with UCLA, all of those games in Tiger Stadium. So what's going to be maybe your toughest road test? It's going to be at Texas A&M. Now, you've got at Florida on November the 16th after Alabama. I am not saying that's going to be easy. Even though Florida's record might not show it, they're still a talented football team, and that's a tough spot right after Alabama. Physical game, a lot of emotion. Either way, spend on that game every single year. So for me, you go Ole Miss, and then you go to Arkansas, and we don't expect a lot from Arkansas this year. So where's your emotions going into the Texas A&M game? Again, you haven't won there since 2016. Yeah, it's been a lot of wild and crazy games, including the 7 overtime game. Like, how do you go there and win a game against a team that you're probably, like, depending on how they go, you might even be a favorite in that game? Now, I'm a little bit higher on Texas A&M than most. I think they win this week against Notre Dame.
Yeah, but I got them winning too.
That game to me is, if you win it, playoff, and if you don't, 9-3.
Yeah, but in that 9-3, Alabama's one of those losses, right? But I mean, the A&M game is still the difference there.
If you drop that one, I mean, I haven't gone game by game and been like, okay, here's where the loss is. To me, I would put Alabama maybe third.
Well, we'll see. But I mean, the point stands.
Like, you're choosing between Ole Miss, at Texas A&M, Alabama, and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Right, those are the four that you're kind of, if we're talking about conference play. So it's like picking games in that order. Everybody might have a different order, but having that game at home is always going to be crucial for you, even though you hadn't been very successful in that one. But you have been successful on road or home in that one.
You won last time out, at least. I mean, the point stands. So either way, at A&M going to be a massive, massive test as well. And then the final boldest prediction here, Kyron Lacey does not lead the team in receiving. So my only issue with this is, if this were the case, I would feel like maybe something went awry for LSU a bit. I don't know, maybe C.J. Daniels would just
although they do love C.J. Daniels.
Yeah.
When I went out to practice on Friday, I had, it was my first time out, and I was kind of going around like, hey, give me the update, like what's going on, who's new, who should I be, all that. And like 6 out of the 7, C.J. Daniels was like the first name. So, yeah.
Okay,
yes,
so maybe maybe Nicholas is onto something here.
I'm with you about Kyron Lacey for sure. Like, I would be surprised, but also, like, we have to remember that Daniels did have over 1,000 yards, almost 20 yards per catch and 10 touchdowns. Now, how that translates, it's always up in the air when you have a transfer come from a group of 5 to not only a Power 4, but one of the best Power 4s and in the best conference. But LSU has a real second option. It's not just Kyron Lacey. So if that happened, like if Daniels had, maybe more catches and Kyron had more yards, like something like that wouldn't surprise me.
I take back what I said a second ago. I just need a 1,000-yard receiver. Whoever it is, you need if you do not hit a 1,000-yard receiver, then something has gone awry a bit. Taylor, Chris Hilton, questionable for the game on Sunday?
And this was a name that I threw out to you guys right after fall started because he looked so good out there, was Kyle Parker. And Brian Kelly mentioned him yesterday. Like, if Chris Hilton can't go, Kyle Parker is the guy. Like, he will be in the starting 3. It's probably be Lacey and Parker on the outside, C.J. Daniels in the slot. So, he's had a really good fall. At the beginning of fall, he was dropping some passes, but I got to tell you, the last 2 weeks I was out there, no drop passes, crisp route runner. And he's over 200 pounds. Like he's a big dude. Like he's got some muscle on him. He looks like he's ready to go.
So I have mine. Are you ready?
Sure.
LSU will lead the SEC in sacks. Number 1 with a bullet. I see you looking over your shoulder at me, Tay-Tay. T-Bob, how could such a thing be possible? LSU sucked last year, right? Well, they were still 7th in the SEC. 31 sacks. Texas A&M finished first in the conference at 42. Now, make no mistake, Texas A&M will be hard to beat with Shamar Turner, Nick Scorton, everybody else that they have on that D-line. But do you know who was just 3 sacks behind Texas A&M? Blake Baker's Missouri Tigers. Blake Baker had some very good players last year. I don't think he had a player of Harold Perkins' caliber. We said yesterday a sneaky strength of this team could be that edge group. Womack, Swinson, Shand, Jones. This is a defense that is going to be built on being aggressive, on dictating, and try to force you to prove that you can make the play to beat them. I keep thinking back to how Georgia Tech approached DJ Uiagalelei after that first drive on Saturday where they started attacking him. Cover 1, sometimes cover 0, man coverage.
More cover 0 than he probably expected.
And what did they do in the first drive? There's a lot of cover 2, playing a little bit back. Nope. Yeah. After that, we ain't going to let you just sit here and attack. And that's what LSU did last year. And they still had 31 sacks, still finished halfway. So, yeah, I could see a world out there where LSU goes above 40 sacks and leads the entirety of the SEC. How about that?
Okay, I like that one. I like that. And it's certainly bold. I think this might be bold to some. Maybe it's not to others, but I think it's more to do with the quarterbacks that are in front of him that would make it bold. I think Garrett Nussmeier, bold prediction, is first team all SEC quarterback.
Yeah, okay, that is insane. Yeah, no, I mean that is pushing Caleb Jackson as Doak Walker for on the insanity level. When you think about Carson Beck, Jackson Dart,
Jalen Milroe,
Quinn Ewers, Brady Cook, Quinn Ewers. Nico
said
Yamaliava. No, I agree. I'm just setting the context for the people as to why that sounds so bold.
Yeah, I think it's because of the people, not Garrett's talent, but I think it's the people in front of him that make that bold.
Yeah.
But yeah, you said bold. Let's go bold.
I agree. I mean, look, okay, so then let's math it out. So how do those other guys fall short then? Texas has good weapons, but they've lost some running backs and they've replaced all of their receivers from last year, right? And Quinn Ewers does sometimes struggle to stay healthy.
You could have the head-to-head, against 2 of them.
Yeah,
and Milroe and Dart.
True. Dart's going to put up stats, but maybe you get the head-to-head there, and that pushes you over the top of him. Milroe as well, and obviously Milroe's weapons remain the biggest question mark with Alabama. Will Milroe put up like overwhelming passing statistics? Brady Cook? Does he take a step back? I mean, with Brady Cook, he feels like a player on the rise, but then again, we've only really seen one good season. Remember last year, at the beginning of the year, they're ready to bench Brady Cook. They're ready to fire Eli Drinkwitz before everything changed. Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, Garrett and Nico are in the exact same spot, so him finishing above Nico is, nothing surprising. Carson Beck is the real biggest piece of this that makes it bold. Yeah. Because that man is a robot. He is so consistent and NFL efficient that it's definitely hard. Now they won't ask him to do a ton, but even then he kind of put up interesting numbers last year. So, hell yeah, dude. Garrett Nussmeier, first team all SEC. If that happens, things have gone very well. If that happens, you're probably in the playoff. Like, I could see a world where you lead the SEC in sacks and you're still 9-3, right? But if Garrett Nussmeier's first team all SEC, then you probably at least 10-2 probably better, maybe 11-1, and in the playoff and like a top 5 team in the entire country. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.